Hello there. I'm Kios the Ronin Beatmaker, and welcome to Lounge Ronin. All things, everything. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And on this episode, we're going to discuss Enki, the Mesopotamian god who saved humanity. So without further ado, let's get into it. No, now, as always, these are a little light introductions into these various religious, cultural, and civilizations. So please, if you enjoy this light introduction, I highly recommend you go out there and you do your own research. And you might be surprised at what you learn about yourself and the world. So, this article was written June 18th, 2019. Enki, the epic Mesopotamian water god who saved humanity. In the belief system of the Sumerians, Enki, known also as by the Akkadians and Babylonians, was regarded to be one of the most important deities. Originally, Enki was worshipped as a god of fresh water and served the patron deity of the city of Eridu, which the ancient Mesopotamians believe was the first city to have been established in the world. Over time, however, Enki's influence grew and the deity was considered to have power over many aspects of life, including trickery and mischief, creation, magic, fertility, and intelligence. The Neo-Sumerian texts and Merakar and the Lord of Irada praises a later version of Enki. Quote, Enki, the Lord of abundance and the steadfast decisions, the wise and knowing Lord of the land, the expert of the gods, chosen for wisdom, the Lord of Iridug, shall change the speech in their mouths, as many as he had placed there. And so the speech of mankind is truly one. Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian myths of Enki's family. According to the Sumerians and Akkadians, Enki was one of the sons of Anu, the god of the sky. In the Babylonian Enuma Elish, on the other hand, Enki is referred to as the son of Aspu, the primeval freshwater ocean beneath the earth. Enki has also been regarded as the son of Namu, the primordial mother goddess who gave birth to the heavens and the earth. Enki's wife was Ninhursag, and amongst their children are Ashuraludi. Hold on. I'm going to try to get these right. Asa, Asarul Luhi, Enbili Ulu, and Marduk. Shout out to Marduk. Here we have an illustration of Enki. God, what kind of shampoo was he using back then? He kind of has that haircut. He has the same hair like that football player with the Head and Shoulder commercials. Okay, let's continue. A lot of what we know today about Enki comes from the literary works of Mesopotamia that have survived over the millennia. There are a number of stories in which Enki plays a predominant role. One of the most famous of these is the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation story. In this tale, Enki was an offspring of Apsu and Tiamat, the personifications of fresh water and salt water, respectively. Enki and his siblings began making a lot of noise, which angered Aspu as it interrupted his sleep. Aspu decided to destroy his children, though his plan was revealed to Enki by Tiamat. As a result, Enki decided to strike first by putting his father to sleep and then killing him. Although the story continues, Enki is no longer the main character in it, as he is overshadowed by his son Marduk. And here we have a possible depiction of Enki and Ziusuda. Enki helps humanity. Now, if you know anything about Enki and Enlil and and the Babylonian creation myth, and them coming from um, Planet X or Naribu and coming here mining gold. Alexander Sitchin's is it Alexander Sitchin or Eric Von Doss's theory about the ancient Sumerians coming from another planet and coming here to mine gold, and then taking the hominids and the cavemen of the planet and essentially mixing them with their DNA, creating humans to essentially mine the gold and essentially do all of the manual and minual and mundane tasks for the gods. And that Enki ends up wanting wants to preserve humanity, while Enlil wants to destroy humanity. If I'm yes, if I'm yeah, I'm on the right track. So, that kind of ties into the whole idea of Atlantis and the pre-Diluvian civilizations versus post-Diluvian civilizations. I've covered a little bit of the pre-Diluvian civilizations on here. um, there might be some critics out there who'll be like, well, that's full of BS and what have you. But hey, I mean, you go out there and look at the various historical sites. You look at the data. You look at the scientific data out there. And like I pointed to, the other day about the Indonesian pyramid, look at the data on that. The scientists have accepted and have come to the conclusion that that pyramid was pre ice age. It was constructed before the last ice age. So when I talk about these pre-Diluvian civilizations, I'm coming from other researchers who have done the work, have done the research, done the math, have gone out to the sites, and have come to these kind of conclusions. So when we talk about these mythologies, you have to kind of ask yourself, is there a level of truth to these mythologies? And I always kind of like to point to this one idea where, like, if you can believe in God and you believe that giants once existed on the planet because you believe in the Bible, then is it out of the realm of possibilities for you to believe that at one point there was a advanced worldwide civilization that pre-existed before our time? And if you can believe in giants, then it's not out of the realm of possibility for you to believe that our planet had former advanced civilizations that occupied the entire world. So, these are things to just kind of keep in mind when you look into these creation myths, when you look into characters like Enki and Enlil, it's, Manu from, Hindu texts, the Bhagavad Gita, all of this kind of stuff. There's a level of truth within the mythology. You can tell me I'm wrong about that, but all the archaeological sites seem to prove contrary to that. And the Iliad with the Battle of Troy, I remember being taught that Troy was a myth. It never happened. It was a story. And then Greek archaeologists discover a portion of the Wall of Troy. And so a myth becomes reality. How many myths are actually based upon some form of reality? Just something to think about. But I digress. Enough of a Ronin rant. Let's get back to it. Enki helps humanity. Enki also plays a major role in another Akkadian Babylonian myth, the Astrasius, which is the Mesopotamian version of the Great Flood. In this myth, Enki was responsible for the creation of mankind, who would serve the gods. This race of humans multiplied quickly, and Enlil, the chief deity, became irritated by the amount of noise they made. Therefore, he decided to reduce the number of humans by sending catastrophes to kill them. Each time, however, the people appealed to Enki, who would tell them what to do in order to survive. This creation myth story, is told throughout almost various aspects of civilizations post flood all over the world. Just something to keep in mind. Finally, Enlil decides to wipe out humanity once and for all with a great flood. Enki is unable to stop Enlil's plan and decides to go to Earth and save one good man, Atrasius. The man is told to build an ark and therefore manages to escape from Enlil's wrath. Okay, hey, that's funny. Huh? Where have we heard that story before? And aren't the Christians always telling us that it was Noah who did it? But over here we got Atrasius. Huh. And if you go to the Hindu text, his name is Manu. So you got Atrasius, Noah, Manu. Huh. It's almost as if these religions are inspired by much older stories and religions. Fancy that. Fancy that. What are the ironies of that, ladies and gents? What have I been saying on this channel for a minute now? But hey, don't shoot the messenger. If you got that problem, take it up with God or your religious heads of state. Let's continue. The rest of the human race, however, is destroyed. Enlil then suggests that human beings be made again, though through these new creations would be less fertile, have shorter lifespans, and would be more vulnerable than their predecessors. Now, we can get into how the predecessors could be giants. We can talk about how in the Bible they talk about people living for hundreds of years. The the King's List, where you have kings on there and some queens living for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So we could get into all of that, but that's a whole other can of worms that other people have done a much better job of articulating. And that's not the point of this episode. So let's continue. Here we have a reproduction of a seal representing the Sumerian god Enlil and his wife, the goddess Ninil. Enki as a trickster and the one who is tricked. In some myths, Enki is regarded as the father of the goddess Inanna, another major deity in the Sumerian pantheon. For example, in the well-known myth, the descendant of Inanna, a plan is devised by Enki to rescue his daughter from the underworld, where she is killed by Ereshkigal, her sister. He sends demons to trick Ereshkigal into giving them Inanna's corpse, which they then resurrect. In a myth which is entitled Inanna and Enki, the two deities engage in a drinking competition during which Enki was completely drunk, gives his daughter all the mess, i.e. the gifts of civilization. The next morning, when Enki realizes what he had done, he sent his followers to retrieve the mess. Inanna, however, returns safely to her city, Uruk. Realizing that he had been tricked, Enki had no choice but to make peace with Inanna and the city of Uruk. Here we have a Queen of the Night relief. The depicted figure could be an aspect of the goddess Ishtar, Mesopotamian goddess of sexual love and war. Some say those things go hand in hand. In the myths above, it may be said that Enki was perceived as a wise and benevolent god who cared for humanity. In addition, it may be said that his strengths laid in his cunning and his ability to be a trickster. Nevertheless, as the example demonstrates, even the trickster may at times be tricked. And there you have it, a light introduction into ancient Enki, the Mesopotamian god who saved humanity. Written by Wu Wigan. Enki and Enlil is a really fascinating story. And as we saw earlier in the article, as we just covered, the story of Noah is much older than Christian scholars would like to tell you, and my critics as well. So I highly recommend people out there, like I've always said and stressed, please go out there and do a light dive into this stuff. This was a light introduction for everyone out there. Go in there and do a deep dive. You really will be amazed at what you will uncover. It's truly a fascinating and astounding world. And the hidden history, man, that is something to behold. So please, don't be afraid to. I know it's scary out there. I know it's unnerving at times, but don't be afraid to go out there and take a chance and scratch that itch that you have about the world. No one's holding you back except you. And don't be afraid to pursue the uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to challenge your foundational belief system. Everything here we just covered is just a light understanding of our world. But there we get smacked in the face with the revelation that the idea of Noah is much, much older. And so that should lead to all of us beginning to question how old history and mythology and humanity really is. And it's something I implore everyone out there to take a chance at learning and being open to the ideas and revelations that you may discover. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lounge Ronin. All things, everything. If you've made it this far, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.